probably one of the most popular registered plans, but probably the best way that most people understand essentially saving money for retirement and all this stuff there is very, very popular. Of course, is RRSPs, Registered Retirement Savings Plans. And because it is registered, obviously registered with the CRA, essentially, so everybody gets a registration number, And remember, you can only have one RRSP. Now, I realize that some of you may turn around and buy or make your contribution, maybe to different financial institutions and everything else. And certainly you can do that. But technically, from Ottawa's perspective, you only have one RRSP because you have to give this your social insurance number. So the whole thing is monitored by your social insurance number. So whether you go to one institution and put all your money in one institution, or whether you go into 10 different institutions, doesn't really matter. You're welcome to do that. But just be aware that from a grand scheme of things, there really is only one RRSP that each individual can own. Okay? And remember that an RRSP is an annuity. Okay, and therefore, because it's a registered annuity, the owner of the policy, in other words, you as the owner of the policy, and you must also be the annuitant as well. Okay, so beneficiary could be anybody you want, doesn't matter, but you are in fact the same person. So in other words, there is no third party RRSP. It's just personal. So all RRSPs are at a personal level. So I am the owner. In other words, the contract holder, whatever you want to call it, okay? And I'm also the annuitant, basically. But I could name a beneficiary, they're going to pass away, things of that nature. But there is no third-party RRSP, so that's very important to remember. The next thing to remember is that the contribution could be any time during the year. But if you wanted to count for the previous year, your contribution must be made no later than 60 days after December 31st. So, for example, if you wanted to make your contribution for 2017, for example, the year just passed, you had basically 60 days this year, 2018, to actually make your contribution, and that would count for the previous year. Any contributions you make after that will count for the current year, basically. So that's very important to remember, is that it's 60 days from December 31st onwards is the maximum you can go. But like I said, you can be, certainly put it anytime you want, okay, beyond that. Now, the formula is really quite simple. It's 18% of your previous year's earned income. That's important to remember. It's not current year. Okay, it's not how much money did you make in 2017, for example. It's how much money did you make in 2016. So you're technically always 1 year behind, you might say, in all this. So it's always the previous year's earned income. Now, the question of earned income is really quite important because not all income is earned, okay? Basically, earned income is your salary, your bonuses, things of that nature there. Commissions, rental income also qualifies, and grants that you may be receiving, net business income, spousal support, in other words, alimony payments, things of that nature. All of those kind of things there are what we refer to as earned income. But your investment income, so if you have an investment portfolio where it's drawing interest, dividends, capital gains, that's not going to count. Okay, that won't count. Royalties, those won't count. Payments from your RRSP, from RPPs and DPSPs, things. In other words, other registered plans that you may have. Okay, those are not considered earned income. Okay, so the word "earned" is really quite important that you make sure that it is strictly adhered to. Otherwise, you will get penalized for excess contribution. So once you've established that, let's say for that previous year, you multiply it by 18%, then you'll get the amount that you can actually deduct for that particular year. Okay. However, there's also a maximum. Now that maximum changes year by year because it's indexed. So I think in 2017, it's roughly in the neighborhood around $26,000, whatever. Okay, but that's not really important because you need to look at that every year. The important part is this piece here. Okay, 18% of your previous year's earned income. Subject to a maximum amount. So you cannot put in more than that maximum amount, whatever it is. You can certainly put in less, but you cannot put in more. Also, of course, in order to contribute, you have to be 18 years old and older. Okay? And you can go all the way up to age 71. In other words, you can defer this. So an RSP is really a deferred annuity, you might say, to age 71. And then at age 71, you must annuitize that. And we'll talk about annuitizing maybe in a later session. Okay. So basically, what you're doing is just simply accumulating money all through these years. Now, of course, you can start your income well before age 71, but you cannot defer it any longer than the year you turn age 71. So whatever that year that you turn age 71 is the maximum deferral that you can have. Okay. So once we've established that, what that is, then the next thing is there are some restrictions apply, as they always do. So there'll be minuses. So if you are already a member of a RPP, a company pension plan, basically, in other words, your employer and you are already putting money into your pension plan, then you have what's called a pension adjustment. So the pension adjustment for the previous year. Now again, so you because remember this was previous year, so pension adjustment is also previous year. Now we'll go through an example in a moment anyways, but basically the pension adjustment, because if you did not take out that pension adjustment, that minus basically, okay, then you would be over contributing over that. Remember, you cannot, it's the lesser of whatever this number is to a maximum. So if this number here, maximum, is only $10,000, let's say, even though the maximum says you can put in 20,000 for this year, but your 18% rule only allows you to put in 10, then that's it. You can't put any more than 10. So basically the formula is 18% of the previous year's income to a maximum, whichever is the least. Okay, whichever is the least. So when you do this calculation, if it's less than this year, then that is all you can do. If it's more than this year, then the maximum you can put is that number there, and that's it. Okay, and then you get your minuses. So, like I said, if you are in fact employed by a company that has a company pension plan, then you will get a pension adjustment because and you have to deduct that pension adjustment because if you don't, then you've made an over contribution, and that the penalties are quite severe, as you'll see in a moment. Okay. Also, you may be subject to what we call past service pension adjustment for the current year. So that usually applies, for example, if your employer suddenly today decided that they're going to open up a pension plan for all the employees and everything. Now, you've been working for them for the last 10 years, let's say, with no pension plan whatsoever. And so the employer basically says, you've been working with me for the last 10 years. I would like to contribute to, as a reward, you might say as a benefit, whatever it is, for your past service. Just as if you were working for me in the last 10 years and you did have a pension plan, what would have I contributed? Whatever that number is, okay? So that would be for past service pension adjustment. So this usually applies, once again, if it's a defined benefit pension plan, for example. You can buy credits, you might say past service credits for the years that you were working for them, but there was no pension plan at that time. So the two things you have to remember is that if you have any kind of a pension with your employer, two things to remember is that you may have a pension adjustment for the previous years, and you may also have a past service pension adjustment for the current year. So, but those, again, those are all minuses, because once again, if you don't minus this, then you've exceeded the maximum, and the penalties, like I said, will be quite severe. Okay? Then we have some pluses. So these are your minuses, then we have some pluses. And the plus, first of all, is the carry forward. From the year you turned age 18 and you started working and everything else, you might have not had much money to contribute. In other words, at age 18, the last thing on your mind probably was retirement, just starting off in life and everything else, okay? Or maybe over the years, you have been putting some money in, but you haven't really been putting in the maximum. Yeah? So every year, this calculation is actually done automatically for you. So it will tell you how much you can put in every year. Now, if you have the money, obviously contribute. But if you don't, do you lose that contribution rule? No. The contribution rule carries forward. Okay, in other words, it adds up over the years and everything else. So at some point over the years, you may want to catch up with all this and just basically write one big check. In other words, you want to catch up. So in that case, then carry forward goes right up to age 71. In other words, you can actually take all those lower payments that you should have made all those years, and add them all up in 1 year and just write one big check. And so carry forwards are pluses. So once again, all the times that you have not been contributing or contributing minimal amount, okay, you can in fact catch up. So therefore, that is a plus. That is a plus. So that carry forwards are a plus. And one more plus is a one-time over contribution of $2,000. Okay, so you can make one more contribution over and above all of this. You can still have one more contribution, which is no more than $2,000. Now that $2,000 is a one-time only. It's not an annual thing. It's a one-time only contribution. But remember that $2,000 is not deductible, whereas everything up here, all of this has all been deductible all this time. That $2,000, you can certainly throw in that $2,000, but it's not a deductible contribution basically. However, the $2,000 does grow tax deferred. So you still want to defer some taxes, but you won't get a tax break. Whereas from all of this above here, basically, that gives you that tax break. But that there does not give you a tax break. But that $2,000 will grow tax deferred over the years. Okay. Now, as I said, if you end up going above this, whatever that maximum happened to be, whether it's the absolute maximum or your maximum, whatever it is, if you end up contributing over and above that maximum, the penalties, in other words, for excess contribution, are quite severe. It's 1% per month, in other words, 12% a year. So you got to be very, very careful that you always stay within that line and everything else. Otherwise, you'll be penalized at a rate of 1% a year for as long as you keep that money sitting in there. So you've got to be very careful about any kind of excess contribution, and that's why monitoring all of these things here is very, very important as you go along. But we're going to go through an example, and you'll see how the math works and everything else.